Hi, this is Sarah Lane from Sarah Ran Away with a Spoon. And I'm here in my kitchen today. I'm baking up 200 cookies, and I thought, what better time than to share with you some tips on how to batch bake so that you too can bake lots of cookies and not have it take up too much of your time and energy. So I have 4 basic tips for batch cooking for cookies. And this is how I do it. I've been doing farmers markets and large orders for a while now, so I think I've got it down well enough to share with you some tips. Your first tip number 1, is to plan ahead. Make sure you have all of your ingredients on hand. You don't want to be running out to the supermarket in the middle of batch cooking to buy some more chocolate chips or to buy plastic bags for freezing. So read through your recipes and make sure you have everything that you need on hand ready to go to get started. For batch cooking, you'll do it in 3 basic steps. You'll make your dough, freeze your dough, and then bake the dough. I make and freeze the dough at the same time, and later when I'm ready, I take the dough balls out of my freezer and bake them. What better way to have fresh homemade cookies than to take the dough right out of your freezer and it's ready to go for you. My recommendation is that you don't bake the dough, then freeze it. I've done a lot of testing, and I really believe that your cookies will come out better if you bake the dough balls from the freezer instead of freezing the dough as cookies once you're done. So once you've made up your dough, shape each cookie and place them in a plastic bag. I use the Ziploc freezer bags, and then what I'll do is I'll place however many cookies fill a bag, usually about 30, and put them in the freezer. And then a layer of cardboard to separate it from the next layer. I'll leave it there for about 15-20 minutes to chill a little bit, and then I'll add the next layer. So you'll have layer upon layer upon layer of cookie dough balls in your freezer ready to go. One suggestion about using home recipes when you're making large batches is to not do more than double them. I usually 1.5 times the recipe. Anything more than a double, it sort of makes the recipe kind of not always come together right. And it also, if your mixer, you can't accommodate cups and cups of flour. So, once you're up to like 6 cups of flour, it's too much work on your mixer. So what I do is I make the dough, fill the balls, put those in the freezer, make the next round, fill the dough, put the balls in the freezer. It's very routine. It's very much a process. So then the third step, which I've pretty much talked about, is pack and freeze them. Make sure that your bags are well sealed, and from that point you can take cookies and they're ready to go. I bake my cookies, step number 4, right from the freezer. So I take the balls out and put them on my cookie trays and then put them in the oven ready to go. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to thaw the balls. You don't need to let them sit out for any amount of time. Sometimes it adds a minute to the cooking time, but I found it really hasn't changed the cooking time or the recipe directions. So when you check your cookies, you'll have a sense of how they're doing in the oven. So to review for large batch cooking, 1, we plan ahead. 2 is making your dough. 3 is pack and freeze your balls. And 4, bake and enjoy. I hope these tips will help you so that you too can bake ahead, and there's lots of celebrations coming up. It's right at Memorial Day weekend. We've got graduations and parties and Father's Day. So if you want to bake for a large crowd, bake ahead, freeze, and enjoy. You will be happy you did. Thank you. Come back and enjoy me soon. Bye-bye.